be buried in Christian burial that willfully seeks her own salvation.
I tell thee she is, therefore make her grave straight. The crowner hath sat on her and hides at Christian burial.
How can that be, unless she drowned herself in her own defense?
Why, 'tis found so.
It must be se offendendo. It cannot be else, for here lies the point. If I drown myself willingly, it argues an act, and an act hath 3 branches. It is to act, to do, and to perform. Argal, she drowned herself willingly.
Nay, but hear you, good damn delver.
Give me leave. Here lies the water. Good. Here stands the man. Good. If this man go to this water and drown himself, it is will he, nil he goes. Mark you that. But if the water come to him and drown him, he drowns not himself. Argal, he that is not guilty of his own death shortens not his own life.
What is this law?
I marry ist Crowner's quest law.
Will you have the truth on't? If this had not been a gentlewoman, she should have been buried at O Christian burial.
Why, there thou sayest. And the more pity that great folk should have countenance in this world to drown or hang themselves more than they're even Christian. Come, my spade. There is no ancient gentleman but gardeners, ditchers, and grave makers. They hold up Adam's profession.
Was he a gentleman?
A was the first that ever bore arms.
Why, he had none.
What? Art a heathen? How dost thou understand the scripture? The scripture says Adam digged. Could he dig without arms? I'll put another question to thee. If thou answerest me not to the purpose, confess thyself.
Go to.
What is he that builds stronger than either the mason, the shipwright, or the carpenter?
The gallows maker, for that frame outlives 1,000 tenants.
I like thy wit well, in good faith. The gallows does well, but how does it well? It does well to those that do ill. Now, thou dost ill to say the gallows is built stronger than the church. Argal, the gallows may do well to thee. To it again, come.
Who builds stronger than a mason, a shipwright, or a carpenter?
Aye, tell me that, and unyoke.
Marry, now I can tell.
To it.
Mass, I cannot tell.
Cudgel thy brains no more about it, for your dull ass will not mend his pace with beating. And when you are asked this question next, say, a grave maker. The houses that he makes last till doomsday. Go, get to the Yagan, fetch me a stoup of liquor. In youth when I did love, me thought it was very sweet to contract, the time for my behove. Oh, me thought there was nothing amiss.
Has this fellow no feeling of his business, that he sings at grave making?
Custom hath made in him a property of easiness.
'Tis even so. The hand of little employment hath the daintier sense.
But age with his stealing steps hath clawed me in his clutch, and hath shipped me into the land, as if I had never been such.
That the skull had a tongue in it, and could sing once. How the knave jowls it to the ground, as if it were Cain's jawbone that did the first murder. This might be the pate of a politician, which this ass now overreaches one that would circumvent God. Might it not?
It might, my lord.
Or of a courtier, which would say, Good morrow, sweet lord. How dost thou, sweet lord? This might be, my lord, such a one, that praised my lord such a one's horse, when he went to beg it. Might it not?
Aye, my lord.
Why, even so. And now my lady's worm, chapless, and knocked about the mazurk with a sexton's spade. Here's fine revolution, and we had the trick to see it. Did these bones cost no more the breeding, but to play at logats with them? Mine ache to think on it.
A pickaxe and a spade, for and a shrouding sheet. Oh, a pit of clay for to be made, for such a guest is meet.
There's another. Why not be that the skull of a lawyer? Where be his quiddities now, his quillets, his cases, his tenures, and his tricks? Why does he suffer this rude knave to knock him about the sconce with a dirty shovel, and will not tell him of his action of battery? Huh! This fellow might be in time a great buyer in land, with his statutes, his recognizances, his fines, his double vouchers, his recoveries. Is this the fine of his fines, and the recovery of his recoveries, to have his fine pate full of fine dirt? Will his vouchers vouch him no more of his purchases, and double ones too, than the length that breadth the air of indentures? The very conveyances of his lands will hardly lie in this box, and must the inheritor himself have no more?
Not a jot more, my lord.
Is not parchment made of sheepskins?
Aye, my lord, and half of calfskins too.
They are sheep and calves, which seek out assurance in that. I will speak to this fellow. Whose grave is this, sirrah?
Mine, sir. Oh, a pit of clay to be made for such a guest is me.
I think it be thine indeed, for thou liest in it.
You lie out on it, sir, and therefore 'tis not yours. For my part, I do not lie in it, yet it is mine.
Thou dost lie in it, to be in it, and say it is thine. 'Tis for the dead, not for the quick, therefore thou liest.
'Tis a quick lie, sir. 'Twill away again from me to you.
What man dost thou dig it for?
For no man, sir.
What woman then?
For none neither.
Who is to be buried in it?
One that was a woman, sir, but rest her soul, she's dead.
How absolute the knave is. We must speak the card, or equivocation will undo us. By the Lord, Horatio, this 3 years I have taken note of it. The age is grown so picked that the toe of the peasant comes so near to the heel of the courtier he gulps his kide. How long hast thou been a grave maker?
Of all the days of the year, I came to it that day that our last king Hamlet overcame Fortinbras.
How long is it since?
Can you not tell that? Every fool can tell that. It was the very day that young Hamlet was born, he that is mad and sent to England.
Aye, marry. Why was he sent to England?
Why? Because A was mad. A shall recover his wits there, or, if A do not, 'tis no great matter there.
Why?
'Twill not be seen in him there. There the men are as mad as he.
How came he mad?
Very strangely, they say.
How strangely?
Faith, e'en with losing his wits.
Upon what ground?
Why, here in Denmark. I have become sexton here, man and boy, 30 years.
How long will a man lie in the earth before he rot?
Aye, faith, if he not been rotten before he die, as we have many pocky courses nowadays that will scarce hold the laying in, he will last you some 8 year or 9 year. A tanner will last you 9 year.
Why more than another?
Why, sir, his hide is so tanned with his trade that it will keep you out water a great while, and your water is a sore decayer of your horse and dead body. Here's a skull now. The skull hath lain in the earth 23 years.
Whose is it?
A whoreson, mad fellows it was. Whose do you think it was?
Nay, I know not.
A pestilence on him for a mad rogue. A poured a flagon of Rhenish in my head once. This same skull, sir, was Yorick's skull, the king's jester.
This?
E'en that.
Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio, a fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy. He hath borne me on his back 1,000 times. And now how abhorred my imagination it is, my gorge rises at it. Here hung those lips that I have kissed I know not how oft. Where be your gibes now, your gambols, your songs, your flashes of merriment, that were wont to set the table on a roar? Not one now to mock your own grinning. Quite chopfallen. Now get you to my lady's chamber, and tell her, let her paint an inch thick. For this favor she must come. Make her laugh at that. Prithee, Horatio, tell me one thing.
What's that, my lord?
Dost thou think Alexander looked of this fashion in the earth,
E'en so.
and smelt so?
E'en so, my lord.
To what base uses may we return, Horatio? Why may not imagination trace the noble dust of Alexander till he find it stopping a bunghole?
'Twere to consider too curiously to consider so.
No faith, not a jot, but follow him thither with modesty enough and likelihood to lead it, as thus: Alexander died, Alexander was buried, Alexander returneth to dust. To dust is the earth. Of earth we make loam. And why of that loam whereto he was converted might they not stop a beer barrel? Imperious Caesar, dead and turned to clay, might stop a hole and keep the wind away. Of that the earth, which may keep the world in awe, which patch a wall to expel the winter's flaw. But soft, soft a while. Here comes the king, the queen, the courtiers.